Okay, we have a story here today. Army chaplain forgives teenager who stabbed him. Father Paul Murphy was stabbed as he waited to enter Renmore Barracks in August 2024. This is an interesting story here. There's a lot of talk at the minute about online radicalisation. However, the program Adolescence is being pushed now. We need to see this in schools. We need to see how young, scrawny white boys are being initiated into incel culture and can be out there doing bad things. Well, here we have a real life, apparently, case of online radicalization, but not quite in the same way as adolescence. So, a 17-year-old boy who stabbed an army chaplain outside an army barracks apologized to him in court this afternoon as the priest said, "I forgive you." So let's look at the details here. The boy pleaded guilty to attempting to murder Father Paul Murphy by stabbing him multiple times at Renmore Barracks, where he was stationed. He said the boy told the boy he forgave him and hoped that he would learn a better way of living. Well, let's hope so. He spoke to the boy after the court proceedings were adjourned and he gave him a hug as the boy apologized again. This is the same guy, the same kid that wanted to take his life from him. The sentencing heard that at the Central Criminal Court, the boy who was 16 at the time supported the so-called Islamic State terrorist group and had been radicalised online. So this is a real life instance here. This isn't a dramatization. This is the real thing. The court heard an analysis of devices found at his home found content suggestive of a radicalised Islamic mindset and included graphic videos of beheadings and other acts of extreme violence. Maybe this case should be shown to Irish schools because he was 16 at the time. He was an Irish schoolboy. At least he was a schoolboy in Ireland. Whether or not he was Irish or not, it doesn't say. But maybe this should be shown in schools rather than adolescents. Maybe the Dáil should be pushing to have this one shown. This is real life. This is real. This is what really happened. This is not a TV Netflix drama. This is the real deal. A knife recovered at the scene was a hunting knife with an 8-inch serrated blade. It had been bought online and delivered to the boy's home. When he was arrested, the boy told Gardaí, "I did it. I attacked the guy in the car." And listen to this, he said he did it to protect the Irish Defence Forces work in Mali and all the stuff for Islam. Oh, sorry, to protest, not to protect, to protest. So he was protesting against the Irish Defence Force, number one, their operations in Mali, in Africa. Very specific. Anti-IDF is Irish Defence Force, not Israeli Defence Force, and specifically to do with Africa. When the boy's home was researched, a poster with Arabic writing saying Allahu Akbar or God is great was found, as well as an Islamic State flag and notebook with writing and graphic sketches depicting beheadings. The boy denied the sketches were his. Okay. The court heard he had converted to Islam at the age of 15 and regularly attended Friday night prayers at a mosque in Galway. So there you go. Radicalised at 15, 16, attended the mosque, Arabic writing all over the walls, Islamic State flags, beheading sketches, and allegedly, and a bee in his bonnet against the Irish Defence Force and their work in Africa. And he just thought he would take it out on a priest who was heading into the barracks. Father Murphy said he felt he was the best placed person to take the knife that night. Well, no, the best scenario would have been that there would have been no knifing at the barracks at all, but I take his point. He said he thanked God every day the knife tore through his skin and not the body of one of my comrades. And he said he considered it an honour and a privilege to carry the scars until his dying day. Well, each to their own. Detective Sergeant Paul Nolte told the court that on the night of the 15th of August, the boy, who was a secondary school student, had been working and then went to the gym. You know, he could have carried out this attack in school, could have carried it out in public, but he decided to head to the army barracks instead in Galway. He cycled to the barracks. Father Murphy arrived home at about 20 to 11 after having been for a swim. As he waited in his car outside the gate, the boy approached him, asked to talk, and when he lowered his window, the boy lunged at him with a hunting knife and began stabbing him repeatedly. CCTV footage shown in court showed Father Murphy driving his jeep through the gates of the barracks. The boy hung onto the side and continued to stab the priest as the car moved. Now listen to this. Is this the kind of protection you would want in the army barracks? He ignored shouts to stop, as well as warning shots fired by the soldiers. The assault only came to an end when soldiers were able to restrain him on the ground. So here we have someone who's hanging in through the window of a car, actively stabbing a priest repeatedly, and they shout, "Stop, stop." You really think he's going to listen? He didn't listen, and firing warning shots. Every second that they delayed to take definitive action against this stabber, that priest could have been killed. That priest could have been killed. Luckily, he wasn't. But by the grace of God, he's still alive, because it wasn't because someone was shouting, "Stop," or firing warning shots over his head. Maybe there was a case to be made there that they could have used lethal force. After all, there was an attempted murder in progress that's been admitted to, with an 8-inch hunting knife hanging through the window of a car as the car's moving, repeatedly stabbing this priest. So I'm glad those Irish Defence Forces guys aren't protecting me. Now listen to this. Here we go. In the interviews, the boy said he didn't really remember what happened, but said sorry. He said he had mental health problems, including depression and anger, and said, "I don't know what made me do it." Well, sometimes I get depressed, and a lot of times I get angry. But thankfully, I don't go around with an 8-inch blade taking it out on members of the public. Sergeant Nolte said the last Defence Forces mission in Mali came to an end well before the stabbing. I mean, you shouldn't be to justify anything here. This was a kid who had been radicalised. He was an extremist, Islamic State extremist, trying to kill a priest in an army barrack, in the army barracks, not outside it, in it. He was inside by the stage after the guy drove through the gate. Father Murphy suffered stab wounds to each arm and continues to suffer with scarring and reduced function in his left arm. His victim impact statement, he described trying to fend off the attacker and the piercing knife as the boy tried to rob him of his life in an attack. Listen to this, that lasted only 90 seconds. Only 90 seconds? That's a minute and a half. I would say 90 seconds is a long time when someone's plunging a knife into your body repeatedly. Piercing knife. 90 seconds? Try counting to 10 and imagine someone stabbing you for 10 seconds, let alone some loon trying to stab you for 90 seconds while the IDF, the security at the barracks, would stop, stop, stop. No, you have guns that fired warning shots. Okay, the kid's still alive, the priest's still alive, but it could have been a fatality. Could have been a fatality. I don't know. What do you do in a situation like that? Should you wait? Give the stabber the benefit of the doubt? Oh, he might stop if we say please. He might stop. No. He said, victim impact statement, he said about the piercing knife, but he said, far from being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Here we go again. What is it with this statement, in the wrong place at the wrong time? He said, I wasn't. I wasn't in the wrong place at the wrong time. He said, actually, I was in the right place at the right time. That's got to be a first. Got to be a first. Someone who's stabbed repeatedly for 90 seconds by a knife-wielding maniac trying to kill him and actually saying, well, actually, I was in the right place at the right time. So that's a first. That's a first. We like to bring firsts here. on No Risk, No Reward Media, and he said the night was filled with blessings. Okay, I get where he's coming from. I get where he's coming from on a personal level. That's his business, how he looks at it and how he views it. He's given this kid the benefit of the doubt. He's hoping that love and forgiveness will change him, that it will cause him to break the spell of Islamic radicalisation, that he accepts his apology, give him a big hug, and it's all going to change. Let's hope it does. Let's hope it does. I don't want to rain on this guy's parade. Who am I to speak about it? But just saying, right place at the right time. That's a first. In an extraordinary moment in the Central Criminal Court, Father Murphy turned to the young man and said he forgave him. He said it hoped it would help him become a better person, and he hoped he would use whatever resources were put at his disposal in prison and beyond to learn a better way of living. I don't know if he was, doesn't say where this kid was from, if he's an Irish kid or if he's someone who came to the country and got citizenship. I don't know. But in this case, if that is the case, instant deportation, staying at the taxpayer's expense, getting counselling at the taxpayer's expense, and then what, released and being kept by the taxpayer? The boy said sorry. Father Murphy said everyone had to take responsibility for their actions. Indeed, just wants the young man to get ahead in life and that he would become a positive role model, wholesome, happy, and loving person. Defence counsel Sean Gillane said his client had no previous convictions, but he was on the autistic spectrum, which he said could explain it. Again, autism's on the rise. There's never been more autistic people than there are at this time. Does that mean we have many more potential ticking time bombs? Or I'm not saying it does, but this throwaway statement, well, he was autistic, he was on the spectrum, so that could have explained a lot of this away. He was bad-tempered, depressed, and autistic. There you go. There's your rationale. Doesn't talk about the radicalisation per se. Doesn't talk about the beheading videos and the graphic alleged sketches and all the material that was found on his hardware. No, trying to rationalize it away to mental health issues alone. Boy was vulnerable to the material, which led to increasing radicalization and poisoning of his belief system. Well, it could have been a factor. Who, I don't know. I'm not an expert. Mr. Justice Paul McDermott said there was a lot to consider and he would give sentence on the 29th of April. So there you have it. There you have it. Did the priest do the right thing? I'm not saying he didn't, by the way. I'm saying, did he do the right thing? Embracing this kid, he's still 16, time to change, maybe made a mistake, or is the indoctrination in there too deep in many cases because this kid wanted to kill the guy because of a perceived slight of the IDF, the Irish Defence Forces in Mali. So anyway, he's going to be sentenced. He'll probably go to prison, or will he? Will he go to prison? Or will he be let out because he's been hugged and forgiven? But anyway, let me know what you think. Should he be deported straight away? Or what? What should happen? What should happen? Leave me your comments below. I'm Rick Munn, No Risk, No Reward Media. Over and out.